You're listening to MLB Pro Radio. MLB Pro? What in the hell is that? Sounds like some kind of baseball stripper service. Whatever. You like what you like. I'm not here to judge. Enjoy whatever the hell this is.
So we're doing my wife's parents first, and then my parents after that with our 4 collective kids at both. So we have two Thanksgivings, one around 12 and one around 5.
Do you pace yourself, or do you just say screw it? I'm just gonna
eat. Yeah, tomorrow, just let it go and then make up for it on Friday. Although my mom and dad will probably give me a million leftovers, which will make it hard to not overdo it. But this is that time of year where I go up a little bit in weight.
Yeah, I need to try and not do the opposite. That's yeah.
But it's all good. I do like turkey, and normally I fry one, but not this year. We're just being guests. We're renting a house right now since we got married in July, and then next year hopefully we'll have purchased a larger house and we can just host everybody and just do one. But nobody really has a large enough space at this point to get it'll be like 24 people together.
That's a lot of people.
Yeah, because my wife's sister and her husband and their 2 kids also live in town, and then her uncle, and then my sister and her husband. So ends up being a lot of people.
Yeah, we don't have that many. We go to my wife's parents in New Hampshire, which is like an hour and a half away. She's actually leaving now. I'm going tomorrow because there's a basketball run at Foxborough YMCA. So gonna go do that and then drive up myself. And
you're in Massachusetts?
Rhode Island, Mass
Rhode
border.
Island.
Okay. Yeah, I'm on the Rhode Island, Mass border. So it's about an hour and a half drive to get there.
Is that the Foxborough you're talking about, or is it a different Foxborough?
No, that is the Foxborough where the Patriots play. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Cool.
That will be it. By the way, do we have a title for this? I am recording, by the way. Just do we have it? Like
I put so. I saw you put.
I put C&C Baseball Factory.
I mean, that's fine.
I don't know. People could tell us what they think. I mean, we might as well get the show on the road. I'm Comey. That's Chappy, Rob Chapman. Yeah, this is the first pairing. I mean, if we go to see things, first collab. I hate that word. Of whatever this is going to be. Today we have a topic. This is November 26th. Wednesday, day before Thanksgiving, which is why we're discussing Thanksgiving. And we threw together pretty crudely a little off-season primer of sorts, because ish is weird for this off-season. I think there's a lot of weirdness, and we're going to tackle at least a little bit of it today, the time we have.
There's definitely some weirdness.
Yeah, like a player demanding $65 million, which is I think where we can start. Because
let's talk about that, because I believe the highest paid player right now in the league is making about nearly 30 million less than that. So it's almost doubling the highest paid player.
Yeah, it's Bryce Harper, right? He's making 38 million.
Yeah. Okay, so not quite almost doubling, but like 28 million. This ridiculous increase, or 30 million more than the highest paid player.
Just about. Yeah, it's Bryce Harper, then Martin Lopez 36.5, and Bryce is making 38.8. He's almost making 39, so he's making inroads. But right now, only 7 players make at least 35 million, and Shohei Ohtani wants 65 million. I wonder why he wasn't traded at the deadline last year.
I think there was nobody really that had both, because Kimberly was asking for quite a bit in return. So you had to have the youth to move to get him and still have the resources available to pay him. And I thought at the time, because Scott and I were doing a podcast back at the trade deadline, I was wondering if Miami, would be a fit there, because they had at the time, some really good prospects and they had a lot of cash available, but they didn't really have, an active ownership. Their ownership picked up, later in the season after the trade deadline, and ended up, re-signing some of their other players. But at the time, that looked like a potential fit. Now,
Yeah, hindsight. I mean, I know of one team that had a framework done
oh yeah,
and backed out. I know this from maybe firsthand experience, because you also have to remember, when you're trading for Ohtani, you're not getting, you don't get to offer him, you don't get whatchamacallit, any picks back. You don't get any
yeah,
compensation.
right.
And so, like, it just, if you're going to move him, it should have been last offseason. But here we are, and he won $65 million. And we went through and we took stock of everybody's financial situation heading into this offseason. And by my count, there's one, two, one, two, three. There are three teams who can afford him outright right
Yeah,
now, being the two LA teams, and the Dodgers would be but just barely, and then Toronto, and then a handful of other teams that have about 45 to 50 million in cap space: San Diego, Philly, the Mets, Miami, and Cincinnati. Um, how far down do you think Otani's gonna have to come before? Like, do you think he's gonna break 40 million? I mean, I imagine he would.
yeah, I think he'll break 40. I think he could. So it's going to depend on if, Toronto and the LA teams are interested. If those three teams are all in, then I think he could get over 50, in the low 50s. I don't think he's going to get 63 million. I don't think he's going to get 60 million. But
Well, I
I
mean,
could see the low 50s. And I know the argument for paying, that much more than the highest paid player right now is he's a pitcher and a position player. But also, that risk, if he gets hurt, you're down two of your best players.
yeah.
So it's like the old combo TV VCR. My dad would never let me get one because he's like, well, if your VCR breaks, then you can't get it fixed because your TV has to go out too. So I see the risk there. I just don't know what the interest level is on any of these teams' parts.
Well, I mean,
But
and the interest, like, vice versa. Like, do you really, do we think Shohei would want to go to Toronto? Like, to me, this comes down to the two LA teams, unless a team like Minnesota or maybe like a Texas can um can even factor into the conversation. Um, I don't think Toronto's the destination at this stage. Like, there's just too many holes on that team and too much age on that staff.
yeah, they're gonna have to fill other positions up. I do think just because they have the most budget room, it starts there. But I kind of see, you're right. The Angels, don't really need anything.
No, I
So
mean,
their cash is more expendable.
yeah,
Um, the
and I don't
Dodgers,
think they're a team that would invest in a Shohei. I don't
it doesn't
think.
feel like a Matt move.
No. I think in the end, this is maybe the Dodgers bidding against themselves, unless the Mets want to get involved.
The
Um,
Dodgers probably want to upgrade a catcher still. Um,
yeah,
but they
yeah.
don't have a lot of needs. Yeah, they're pretty, yeah.
You
You
mean the
know,
Dodgers? The
yeah, the
Dodgers
Dodgers.
need help. They need help all around the infield. They're like, let me pull it up. This is now. I went through identified needs for each team, but based off of team positional rankings. So this isn't like a guaranteed thing, but right now, if you're looking at the Dodgers, they're probably throwing out an infield of Christopher Morel, Jeremiah Jackson, Ricardo Perez at shortstop, and Brooks Lee at third. That's not exactly instilling confidence
No, but
in turning that around.
Yeah, I don't know. I look at Blake Hunt, who's projected as their starting catcher, and he doesn't look like a major league catcher to me anymore.
No, and I mean, if you want to see the reality that we live in, Cam Gallagher currently demanding $14 million as a catcher. Definitely positional scarcity and leverage, but also inflation
Yeah,
in demand. So
yeah.
I can't
Dodgers need
imagine.
bullpen help too. They, if they fill all their other needs, I don't know that they have the money left for Shohei. But
No, and you also, I mean, they're a 68 win team with a whatchamacallit, um, a farm system. I mean, they're fifth in the league. Okay, but I think their main players. I mean, well, they have Tyson Byron Fields, who sounds very British. That sounds like a very British name. Number 2 prospect. He came up late in the season. Will start. I imagine he'll start 26. There. Denny Martinez, another one. He's further away. He's in Double A, but he's going. Like, they have some good pitch. They have good pitching prospects that are at various degrees of their development. I would wonder also if you if you're going to let go Danny Holtzen like at the deadline next offseason. If you're going to do that, why would you get Ohtani, who will be 32 midway through next season? If you want 6 years, what are you building around? Like a good pitcher, but also a DH, so not even playing a position. I don't know. I think Texas is probably the play because they have the money and because they have all that youth that are going to be on. It's almost like an NFL team, like where you have a quarterback on a rookie deal. And you go and you get guys that you surround them. And I think you could do the reverse here with Ohtani and go get a big guy because you have so many good young players on that team that I feel like Texas would be the play, especially with, and we'll get to Houston in a second, but like,
if I'm looking at the Rangers, and I haven't like taken a deep dive into them by any means. I kind of see the same problem that the Dodgers have in the sense that they have several needs now. Now you're kind of indicating maybe they can fill those from the system, but I feel like if you're just going off of like the surface level look into the team, they need a lot of help.
yeah, right now, I mean, I identified as lower tier in the league: catcher, third base, shortstop, all the outfield, and starting pitcher. They have Carter Jansen, number 23 prospect. He's 22. Probably up in a couple of years. Maybe towards the end of next season if he shows some, if he just keeps hitting. But they have guys like Leah Wenzel, who is probably ready to play regularly. Jared Calcaterra, I should say, who he's not he's depth, but he looks good as a utility guy. Like, they do have pieces that they can fill within the organization, and then they also, again, they have Jamie Blackburn, they have Marshall Larkin, they have Jesse Porter, like that, Riley Green. They have pieces there, not to mention like Yamamoto, Jack Miller. I feel like if Texas has been holding on to go after a star, like now's the time with him.
Yeah, I've noticed in the last couple of years what the Angels will do is kind of wait and see who goes unsigned, and then kind of get some bargains that way.
That's how they got Javier
Would
Garcia
that,
last year.
yeah, would that not suck if nobody really went after Ohtani, and then Matt was able to just like swipe
1
him
year,
up.
$5 million. 1 year, $5 million for Ohtani.
Yeah,
Prove it deal. Yeah,
that would just make everybody mad.
that would be absurd. But it doesn't fit the Angels' narrative.
No.
Especially when, I mean, they have so much pitching already.
Yeah.
And they also have Paul Erickson up after next season. They have Dennis Moore up after next season. I wonder if they'll bring him back or if they will treat the closer like a kicker situation. But like Erickson's a big one.
Yeah.
They have Brady Singer up after next season. Like they do have guys in their rotation that they're gonna have to sign. Brian Hennessy enters the final year of his deal of his rookie year in 2027. And so like they're gonna have, granted, they have so much money as it is, but I don't I wouldn't understand if they took Ohtani. I mean, they have a DH spot, but
yeah, it would be just because he's available.
But also, if you're, I mean, Mike Trout could still play the outfield. I'm not really worried about that. But I'm just like looking at aged guys; they don't really have any.
No.
So like, if you want to get guys at bats like a Michael Harris, if you want to get him regular at bats or a Jack Jenkins or something like that, like Nomar Mazara is going to have to be a DH once in a while. Like you're going to have to rotate DHs, and locking up a DH spot when you have so much flexibility. I mean, as good as Ohtani is, I just don't know that 50 million from the Angels is a thing. I don't think it is with Minnesota, especially when they've been hinting at ripping it apart. The Mets don't make sense, but then again, maybe they do. I don't know. I don't know that the Phillies they have other needs other than, I mean, they do need starting pitching, allegedly.
Philadelphia, I have as an outside shot just because when I was looking at their roster earlier and whatnot, I feel like shoring up catcher is really the only real need they have.
Shortstop.
You think they need a shortstop?
Well, they just lost Miguel Leon. A guy who finishes second in MVP. He's kind of like, then I don't think they're bringing him back. So, and they don't have anything.
They had to go, yeah.
They don't have anything to fill it there.
They could do the Hines method of just finding some, defensive ringer at a lower price and putting him at shortstop.
Yeah. But if you're replacing catcher, if pitching, they did lose Parker Markell. The back half of their rotation is iffy. Michael Wacha also entering the final year of his deal. He wasn't particularly good last year, and he'll be 35 July 1st next year. Like I think the Phillies have
too many needs to
with
just throw it all in one player.
And they got to re-sign Cam Gundy next year. Like, I mean, granted that there's only one, like they're pretty well set up. Although after 2027, a lot of their guys come, the bill has come due on a bunch of their guys. So like Andrew Vaughn, Lou Bob, who else?
What are your thoughts on how long of a deal Ohtani ends up with him already? He'll be turning 32 next year. My house rule when I'm signing guys is I try not to sign anyone beyond age 35. So if in this hypothetical world where KC had money, I would be not really looking at more than a 4-5 most year deal for him. What do you think he's going to end up getting?
I mean, we did do very crude predictions, like haphazard, just okay.
Yeah.
I have the Dodgers 7 for 375. And it's based on nothing. It's based on absolutely nothing. I pulled like a number out of my ass because I think he will probably be the rare somebody who gets 7, probably with 2 opt-outs. Maybe one after 2 years, one after 5. or 4, but and then some options on the back end. But like I think he's going to get a market resetter as a contract.
Yeah. Yeah, I put 7 years too, mainly because I mean, I don't even know my reasoning other than it just sounded right. But I was only projecting 50 mil a year. So I gave him 7,350. But my guess was Toronto. And the reason I came to that is because I really was looking at, okay, Toronto and the Angels have the means and the fewest needs. I felt like everyone down from the Dodgers, Twins, Texas, Mets, those teams they wouldn't really be able to fill their other holes if they were going after Ohtani. But
yeah, I mean the one thing that works for the Blue Jays is you have more money coming off the books. Like there's only 109 million attached to them in 27 and only 70 million attached to them in 28 because you got Gil Martin off the books. Chapman, his last year is next year. Bongers is up in 27. Matt Hansen is up after 2027. Like you have this aged roster, but you have guys coming off the books. The question is, do the Blue Jays want to tie up that much money into one player, or do they want to become we'll take on X contract if you send us some prospects for a couple of years and take advantage of their downtime to maximize their farm system? That'll be the question I would want to see answered with them before decide Ohtani's a player. And also, I mean, Ohtani might not want to go there because of them only winning 66 games last year and probably not going to do well this year. Probably going to be in sell mode from the start. So
yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, the longer I look at this, the more I'm thinking he won't get 7 years anywhere. And the more I think maybe Toronto's not as much as an option as I originally thought. But on top of his age, you've got the whole and I hate to break the the reality we're in here, but what's the effect on the new ratings with 26? Like, is that going to make people nervous to invest invest long term into him until we see this engine in action?
I have no idea what you're talking about on any of this stuff. I just want to see him perform. No, yeah, I mean, there is so much uncertainty. I'll let's put this out there, and then we'll move on. Over under date he signs. Let's put it at February 1st. Do you think he gets signed before February 1st or after February 1st?
I would say after February 1st. I think it'll be right before spring training, which is February 1st or not. Is it like 3rd, 4th, 5th? I don't know. I think it'll be early February, but after February 1st.
Yeah, the one thing I'll be interested to see is how much his demands come down after the new year, and if he's willing to live in reality, where 65 million for a player in this economy is just absurd.
Yeah.
Then yeah, probably. Or I mean, also, I can't imagine there be a bidding war, but I mean, it's possible. I just don't know between who. But like I feel like there are a lot of factors that really could push him off. Normally the big guys would get signed late December, early January. I don't think this is going to be the case here.
Mm.
And with that said, the other big question, like the other biggest question I think needs to be addressed here is Houston.
Yeah.
Because they're currently 26 million over in budget and on cap alone. They have currently their budget for next year projected to be 280 million. Their payroll currently sits at 284.3 million, they're going to have to shed, I would think. And so the question is, where do they start? Because I have an obvious answer, but where do you think they start? Because I don't think there's one piece they can move that's going to really help
Well,
them like
my
do it all in one shot. I mean,
unless there's some type of pressure from the league for them to literally shed anything, I think the move for them is just to you know try to raise revenue. I don't know that they would deal anyone. I think they would just, because then they're gonna have to give up prospects to get people to take overpaid players, because I don't think they're gonna deal anyone that they think is gonna help them reach the playoffs. Um, so my thought is that they're going to be just replacing their needs from within and not really making any financial, trade. I don't think they're going to be dumping salary unless there's pressure from the league office to do so. I know we kind of
yeah.
have a minus $10 million limit. But I think that's more for like if you're trying to make moves, don't go beyond 10. If you're already in that hole, I don't know that there's any kind of rule saying you have to shed salary. What are you thinking?
Oh, well, so they're third in revenue right now as it is, 271 million, just below the Phillies. And of course, then there's the Angels at 299 million in revenue. But I don't see any avenues for them to make more money other than a World Series run, and that would take realistically, till the end of the season to do that. Um, the thing that I see, and that this is, let me just, yeah, the thing that I see here is you're not going to be able to re-sign Fernando Tatis Jr.
No.
And there are many teams who need a shortstop. And do you want to run the risk of falling into a situation that Arizona fell into with Ohtani and not trade him this offseason and then lose out on getting more because teams wouldn't be able to get compensation for him? And so, like, I feel like if you want to maximize what you want to get, now's the time to do that.
Yeah, but like also without him, you really don't have a shot at winning the title. I don't think.
Do they have a shot anyway?
I think they got a pretty loaded roster, and they finished what, second or third place
Yeah,
in
and
the best division in the world.
that with the two teams that aren't going to get worse, and in the case of the Mariners, probably going to get better, and the Astros don't have any flexibility to get better. So I'm like, that's where I mean, outside of maybe guys coming like Bill Black coming back from injury, who although he's still out 8 months.
Yeah, I think you got to try to win. I mean, their payroll goes up next year, even losing Tatis. So they're gonna be in this situation for a while.
You know what I would do if I were the Astros?
What's that?
I would I would be talking to the following teams. I'd be talking to the Chicago White Sox. I'd be talking to the Cincinnati Reds. I'd be talking to the Phillies. I would be talking to um, maybe the Cardinals. I don't know that you would want him in division, so I don't know that I would talk to the Rangers. But I would talk to teams that are competitive, have room, and like maybe even somebody like the Brewers. I don't really know what the Brewers farm system looks like at the moment, but you know, look at teams where you can kind of reload on him, on getting rid of him, and take a step back for a season, maybe 2 seasons, but like the Astros are 25th in farm systems. They have one prospect in the top 100, that being Walker Streelman, who is a 21-year-old left-hand or right-handed pitcher. That's it. They don't
And
have
I
a whole lot. And if you get a
think,
chance to move Tatis and reload so that you're not going for long, I may want to try and do that.
yeah,
I mean, the
I
White
get
Sox are
that,
third overall
but
in
also I feel,
organizational depth.
yeah, I feel like, I mean, I see that, John. Like, it makes a lot of sense from one perspective, but also if you look at it, going back to looking at, positional rankings, like Astros have the number 3 catcher, the number 6 third baseman, the number 3 shortstop, the number 1 left fielder, number 6 center fielder, number 5 right fielder. They have so many top 6 players, 6 best closer. They're, other than a low ranked first baseman, which you can find a first baseman uh, free. They've got a team. I think this team still could compete. I think this team could still win it all if once you get to the playoffs, anything can happen. I don't know. I might ride it out. You're 100% right. There's no way they can sign Tatis if they don't shed some salary, and their farm system is weak, and without trading him, they're not going to pick anything up. But I feel like you keep him and you can make a run. The day you lose somebody to like a long-term injury, if it's before the trade deadline, then you might bail on that plan. But I could see a case for not tearing down this organization yet.
I could also see them hitting up Cincinnati and saying, hey, send us Ian Ritchie, Jackson, Burkhalter, maybe Mizorowski. I don't think James Wood would move in such a deal. Number 1 prospect in the league. I don't think he would move, but maybe Carson Tucker. And then one of Bryce Young, Micah Mason, to who are defensive geniuses who can hit a little, but like, and if you're so loaded in your lineup, you could move him. Like Bryce Young, yeah, he hit what 253, yeah, 691 OPS, 88 OPS plus, but he still had over a win of WAR, which is 1.2 WAR, which is really coming from defense. You could get a placeholder, and again, I'm not saying the Reds are going to would make such a move, but if you're the Reds and you won 94 games a year ago, and the National League is there for the taking, and you could get Fernando Tatis, I think you would look at trading from a strength. Their rotation, I think, is a strength.
Yeah, I could see that. That's a valid case.
I mean, outside of that, you're probably trading one of the starters. If you're Houston, I mean, Tatis, just if you think you can resign Tatis by moving other guys,
you'd have to move a lot of guys.
I mean, yeah, it would. Their whole team is locked. Like, that's the other thing. Their whole team is locked in.
Yeah, they don't have a lot of stuff coming off the payroll soon.
Basically through 2028. I don't see any path where Fernando Tatis is on this team beyond next season. And so, yeah, you can make one more run, or you could be proactive.
Yeah. So you make the run, and then you're just getting compensatory picks, or like you suggest, you can kind of make a run with more of a defensive specialist at shortstop that can hit a little bit, and giving him up to a team that has, some prospects they can give. I think that's not a bad plan for Houston. I think it's too hard to trade enough other assets away to free up, because if you're over 25 million in the hole, you're gonna have to free up what, 55 million to try to sign Tatis.
Yeah, I mean, I Tatis is probably going to want 35 million.
Yeah.
I mean, he's what, 26?
Yeah. So
he'll be 27 when he hits free agency.
I just don't see freeing up that much salary by then.
So I would probably, if it were me, I would move him now. I understand the need to want another run, but again, I don't think it's a let the chips fall where they may situation in the AL West. I think there's a decided hierarchy there. And Houston, I think, as good as they are, might be closer to Sacramento than they are to Seattle. And that sounds ridiculous. But what I mean is, like, in terms of like winning the division, I don't. They finished 11 games out and won 95 games for crying out loud.
Yeah, they would have won either other AL division, and they finished 11 games out, or they would have been tied with you, I guess, in the AL East. But
yeah, and that means
they would have won
getting
the Central by 10 games.
Yeah, you're not getting a home series in the playoffs in that case, correct? Like, is that
yeah. Mm-hmm.
So I'm just not seeing. I guess maybe did they host Seattle? No, that was at Seattle, was it not? I don't know. Yeah, it was at Seattle. Yeah, because if Seattle's finishing second, they're the number one wild card team. Yeah. So anyway, Houston's gonna have. I don't envy their situation. Granted, it's one that may find myself in not too far away from here, or I know people might.
I mean, Kansas City's looking at that in another year or two. We just extended Ed Harris. Broke my age 35 limit rule for him, but he's adding 20 million in future years, so that's going to be a little bit. We'll have a not quite $20 million deficit, but we're going to be in the position where we're not adding any free agents for a while. But that was my goal, right? Was to come up with core players that I could just kind of like use as my core. That's why they're core players, right? And then just sprinkle other bits around them to have a competitive team. Thank God I'm not in the AL West. That's all I'll say.
Yeah. The other team that I think Houston may want to try and call up for this, and this is where we can go next, would be the Chicago White Sox. Winners of the AL Central, kind of coming out of nowhere, I mean, not really. I mean, you could kind of see it, but at the same time,
I think I started predicting that they were going to be a thorn in my side in early June or late May. I was just looking at how many really good rookies they had, because I was all on the Bradley Swagger Rookie of the Year award. What do you call it? Campaign from day one, and I was looking at all the other AL rookies, and I kept seeing White Sox have like 3 or 4 guys that are like could be in consideration. And they whatever Detroit was doing early on, somehow that momentum shifted over to Chicago, and they finished very strong.
Yeah, they pulled a Freaky Friday with the Tigers. They went 34-19 July and August before stumbling in September, but everybody else in the Central stumbled. And I guess the question I have here is, how do they build on their momentum? Again, like, they have 31 million to spend. I think they're the ideal candidate for Miguel Leon. But if Tatis is out there, White Sox have the 3rd best farm system. They do have a lot of good young hitters that might get blocked in some cases. I'm not entirely sure, but like, Rob Markley looks pretty good so far as a catcher.
Yeah, he does.
They have Jared Stevens. They have Ryan Kerr. Do you go after a Tatis? Do you try and sign Leon? Like, they need a shortstop. They need a shortstop. They have Jose Salas right now. That's not if you're going to make a deep run in the playoffs, you need a marquee player, like a good two-way player. There's one sitting there in Leon. I think he's the perfect fit. I have them signing him 5 years, 140 million, when it's all said and done. But do you think they go free agency, or do you think maybe they try and go the trade route?
Well, it's always easier when you've got $30 million available to just find a free agent and sign him. I think that Leon's would be a great fit there.
I mean, they have more needs than just shortstop. They need center field. Like, they have Jaron Kendall, but
they probably need a little pitching help in the rotation. But
they do.
And then, Salas, he's the type of guy where if he had 70 range, he'd be perfect, but he doesn't. So, he's not really a guy you want starting as your everyday shortstop. So, yeah, I think Leon's a good fit there, and I think that they're another one of those teams where they could upgrade their first baseman, and that's easy to do. I don't think they have a lot of other glaring holes. Betts in center field, we'll have to see how he does. I don't like guys with a lower than 65 range out there in center field, and he's not 60. He's close, but I might be looking for upgrade there, especially if you don't have a better defensive shortstop. Just give you good range up the middle.
Yeah, the one guy they might keep tabs on would be Aaron White. He's second baseman, but can be very accomplished as a first baseman. Switch hitter, 784 OPS, 120 OPS plus last year. He's 30. He'll be 31 actually on my birthday. That's interesting. 15 years apart. He'll be 31 in February next year. And right now it looks like he wants about 23 million. I think he's somebody you could probably wait on, and if you can snap him up for maybe 14 million a year, I think the White Sox, like, would be an excellent move for them.
Yeah,
in my humble opinion.
Yeah, I think so. There's just not a lot of guys. Boy, there's a lot of teams that need third baseman and shortstops, and not a lot available.
Yeah, you got Machado, you got Leon, and they're the top two on the overall players on the market. You got Javier Garcia, Chad Lewis. It really drops off. Like, Lewis is fine. He's fine, but do you want to pay 19 million a year to somebody who's going to be 34 in a couple of weeks and what had a 115 OPS plus and has been inconsistent to say, like, 3 of the last 5 years he's had an OPS plus under 100, granted 92, 82, 94, but he's really good defensively. But 34, when you're not getting excellent offensive production, that would make me nervous.
Me too. I agree.
Do you have a specific move you think the White Sox will make?
I didn't have, so when I was picking where free agents were going to land, I didn't have anyone picked for Chicago. I didn't see anyone that I thought was going to end up there. I could see the White Sox going after a trade, but I don't know who they would pursue necessarily. I'm not really sure. I don't have a good feel for them or what they would do.
Yeah, I would probably kick tires on Tatis, and then after that, maybe talk to Arizona potentially for
So that's
available.
That's actually a really good idea. If the White Sox could, they would be a good landing spot for Tatis,
Mm-hmm.
and they would have money to extend him, depending on what they do this year.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, they would have been a great target for Miller Thomas, but Thomas is an Oriole for reasons. That's a thing that happened. But such is life. Tatis, Leon, I don't know what else is available on the market to make a trade for with at shortstop. You have Brandon Housen, so like third base, I think you're pretty well set. Like we're talking about first base, but third basemen are kind of interchangeable. Corner and fielder really is what you're looking at. I don't know what else is out there. Unless you want to talk to Seattle for like Brett Beatty or something like that, which I don't know that Chicago would want to do, but I have no idea because I haven't talked to them. What about the Phillies? It's interesting that they're at a crossroads now. A year after winning the title, they got a lot of money. They got $46 million flexibility. They got $87 million in extension money. So like you can play long term with this team. They are somebody that I feel would probably want to get involved in a Tatis discussion, but I don't think they have the pieces to make that work. Maybe, if it's Max, it would have to be the top 4 prospects: Max Clark, Paul Zwick, Danny Jeremiah, Elijah Stevens. Even then, I'm not sure that gets it done. But if you're the Phillies, what are you going to do to fill Leon?
I had them as a potential landing spot for Braulio Pardo.
I question sanity.
But I don't know.
Are you going to put Ryobi Kamita at shortstop?
Well, this is the thing, right? Pardo, I didn't realize that he was such a horrible defensive player.
Well, he's 39.
Yeah. Well, I had him,
age for crying out loud.
Get him just a 2-year deal. That was, like I said, that was just like, big picture stuff. Catcher there. When I went in and dug in there, I was like, oh no, they don't want him playing there every day. But I do think that probably is their top need this offseason, is someone to catch every day. If you're looking at the free agent market, I don't know if that means maybe they'll be going after a Jed McKinley type player, who at least can field. He's slower than molasses. The Angels, he played for the Angels last year and hit 10 home runs in just 48 games. I think he had 19 total between Minnesota and the Angels. That might be someone they should pursue. He's 34, so he's not 39. I feel like they've got most of their lineup good. But yeah, just if I was them, I would be looking for somebody to catch.
Yeah, I feel like that's probably Cam Gallagher. If they're not finding a prospect, that's probably Cam Gallagher. Just somebody who will allow them to keep flexibility. And defensively, fantastic catcher, excellent at handling a staff. I mean, you could go after Ron Winterhalter, but he can't hit. He can't hit. He is great defensively. He can't hit. If it's not McKinley, which I don't think it would be, just because of the age and what he wants long term. He wants 5 for 130. So I also think McKinley's probably closer to becoming a DH. And if you've got Kamita, they're one of the few teams that have a decided DH. It's like them in St. Louis, and that's realistically it off the top of my head. I don't know that you want to sign somebody who might need to be a DH in 2 years. That would be problematic, to say the least. This is another spot where I don't know what catchers may be available to them in a trade.
The thing about Philadelphia is they don't have a lot of people locked up long term.
Yeah, again, a lot of their guys are off after 2027.
So if you did end up with somebody who had to be a DH in 2 years, it might not be the worst thing in the world.
If you're blowing it up.
Right. I think they're definitely still in their window, but they definitely are going to need, they're another team that could use Tatis. Another team that needs a shortstop. Man, I wish I had lots of shortstops I could trade off. There'd definitely be a market for that.
Yeah, I mean, the Phillies are probably I think still probably the second best team in the National League. Even without Leon, I think they're probably still the second best team. It's the big. I mean, it really depends on how Cincy's young pitchers grow. I think that's probably the biggest threat to them. But they're also their backups are the second best team in the NL East. Scranton Wilkes-Barre, their AAA or Lehigh Valley, I should say, their AAA team is the second best team in the NL East right now. It just where the NL East is at the moment. They're all teams that are resetting.
Do we know if Miguel Leon was wanting to test the market, or if Phillies chose not to re-sign him? Is there a chance? So I guess there is a chance that he could come back to Philly.
Yeah, there's a chance, but yeah, and if you have the flexibility, they have so much money to re-sign guys like Gundy next year, Lubop, stuff like that. In a couple of years, there could be a little reunion in Philly. That's definitely something that could be a thing. Looking at just the shortstop list here, I don't know that they would do this, but Augusto Candelalia in Washington might be available. Again, he free agent after 2027. He's making $27 million a year, but you could get Washington to eat some of that cap probably. I think the question becomes, what kind of return does that look like? You could talk to Sacramento eventually about CJ Abrams. You could talk to maybe the Rockies about Felix Frias. After that, it looks pretty.
Do we have ownership in Sacramento yet? I don't believe we do, right?
No, that's why I say eventually.
So they're another team that could probably stand to, not as severely as Houston, but could probably stand to shed some salary, especially considering I think Scott wasn't being realistic with how with being able to compete in that division. They're not going to be.
I think it was a go for broke last year, and
yeah. But they're in a situation where, even if everyone on the team has career years, they're going to be fourth place.
I mean, that's Alonso Martinez on the first plane out of there.
Yeah, so I would say once ownership is established, that might be a good place to go looking for some of these infield needs. A guy like CJ Abrams doesn't make a lot of money. He's a decent hitter, and he's versatile. He's got good range in the infield. But yeah, it'll be interesting to see what goes on in Sacramento once somebody is brought in to run that franchise.
Yeah, the A's have a lot of talented players.
Yeah.
A bunch of them overlap with one another, but there's definitely a mold here. And unfortunately, there were so many injuries last year.
They had a ton of injuries.
Pretty ridiculous with their injuries. They do have a lot of talent. that you can build off of. And I think maybe that's why I say Houston's closer to Sacramento than they are to like Seattle and LA, because Sacramento is a good team. I think they could be better. I think they have parts that they could move and maybe consolidate. Like an Abrams, like a Dory Lorenzo, Dylan Carlson, a Garrett Mitchell. Jeff Monken Jr. would be a hot commodity.
Yeah.
He can't really hit very well, but
But
lock down your pitching staff for you.
If he ended up in Philadelphia, he could still hit 20 home runs there in that stadium.
Yeah, absolutely.
And just be a phenomenal catcher, captain for that team. So that would be an interesting place for him to land, but we'll just have to see. He also might be one of the players that they don't trade away. They might be better off trading away Frankie Alvarez or somebody else. But yeah, no really way of knowing what's going to happen there until someone's brought in to lead that franchise.
It'll definitely be something to watch. We talk about catchers. Are the Reds Cameron Kisinich or bust? At this point, he's a 23-year-old AA. Hit 670 OPS, 95 OPS plus. Looks very good. Maybe a little weak with the arm. Not as strong as you would ideally like. But you have Ernesto Pena, who had a 63 OPS plus, granted small sample size theater, but in 63 plate appearances in 2024, he had an OPS plus of 14. In fact, he has been in the bigs parts of 5 different seasons. 2021. He had a 130 OPS plus in 2021, then goes 39, 76, 14, and 63. And he's the only catcher on the active roster. If you are the Reds, are you Kisinich and bust? Are you Cam Gallagher and bust? Are you going after McKinley? I mean, you are so close to battling for a World Series because they have all the pieces. But
I think you're in on McKinley, definitely. They've got the funds available.
And their entire team is locked up for the next 2 seasons. They're all locked up, all of them. Their entire roster is next 2 seasons.
Yeah, then I think they've got to be a favorite to land McKinley then, or make a trade.
I currently have them signing McKinley 4 years for $900 million because typos exist. 4 years and $90 million. I think that would probably work. I mean, because even after 27, Jordan Lyles, William Walker, Wendell Ayers are and John McMillan are the only players who come off your books after 2027. You can make do with at least 3 years of Jem McKinley, I would think.
Yeah, definitely.
And they've got $45 million to spend. They do have holes. Like in second base, they probably need to fill second base unless they're going to put one of Bryce Young or Micah Mason there. Like they have Luis Garcia. He's slightly below average. Like he's a guy you probably want him more as a utility guy. They could be somebody who's in on Aaron White. If you can get McKinley and White out of this free agency, that's probably a big win.
I mean, you got to assume that Mason is their everyday shortstop. So I feel like Bryce Young could be their starting second baseman. I don't know who that leaves for third base.
They have Josh Lowe.
Yeah,
he's not a good defensive third baseman though. He's terrible. I mean, maybe are they somebody who's going after Machado? Or Garcia? Which one would you rather have, Machado or Garcia?
I have to check out Garcia real quick.
Like Machado is going to be 34 middle, July of next year. He is an excellent defensive player. Offensively, he was good in Seattle, which
I think I would lean Machado just because he's got a little bit more range on him and he's got that baseball IQ. But I don't think you could go wrong with either one if you were Cincinnati. Machado can play short very capably. But
I
I
think
think,
I think
yeah,
it
I
comes
was gonna
down to like Machado's age. I mean, granted, they're a year. There's not much. Machado, it has more positional flexibility. I wonder how
yeah,
he ages, but at the same time, I would probably agree that Machado, even at the right now projected $11 million more a year,
yeah,
and Machado wants 6 years, 7 years. He wants 7 years.
that's
I,
not gonna happen.
if you can get him down to 4,
Yeah.
which and maybe you're paying 435 a year at that point. I don't
The
know.
problem with Garcia is he's gonna have to stick in a corner. He's gonna have to be first or third. He doesn't have a lot of range.
He did win a
His
Gold Glove last year, did he not? Yeah, he won the Gold Glove. He's won it
Yeah,
twice.
playing where, third base? Yeah,
Or no, he's won it once.
won
Yeah,
it
he won
once
it.
at third base, and so he's fine with his limited range there, and he would be a fantastic first baseman defensively. Um, but I try to keep him away from shortstop or second base with that range. Although he's got a solid glove, he could probably play second fine. What's his potential 60? Yeah, so I don't know. I would heavily, if I was in need of a infielder, I would prefer Machado over him, even though he's older, and even though he wants 7 years at age, almost 34.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see how much those demands come down before he becomes viable. But I would probably think Cincinnati is like I had Toronto signing him, but just because he's going to want a lot of money, um, he'll be productive, and Toronto has a lot of money. I was like, if they're going to splash the cash, it would be at him, and Aaron White perhaps, um, and then you have a trade asset maybe in 2 years. But I could see Cincinnati making a move for him, though. If if you're picking catcher or third base, it's probably the catcher is probably the bigger need. I don't think you could fill both if you're looking to be splashy with your money. Like you can't go after Machado and McKinley. You can't do like if you're gonna do Machado, you're gonna have to thread a needle with Cam Gallagher, or you have to make a trade. And I wonder because like you're not gonna go after Kevin Colomo. Like that's not gonna be a thing.
Yeah,
Um, so like I would think catcher is probably the play for Cincinnati, but I that's what I would guess. I wonder how much they kick themselves over trading Drew Romo. I just wanted to stick in that needle a little bit. Anyway, um, of course, that brings us to Tampa. What the hell do you do with this team? This team, okay, so Tampa, they won. What was it? 95. They won 95 games a year ago. Get to the ALCS, are promptly shown the door. It's honestly, it's like a go meet your heroes thing, like a Comic-Con situation. Like we're in, but they got into the VIP room and the security guard just came over and said, "Yep, here you are. Let's see you out." And they got swept in 4 games, and they probably could have been in 3. That's how uncompetitive it is. And now, yeah, they're set for next year to a point. Their only glaring weakness is center field, where they do have one of the best center fielders in the league in Randy Maley, but he's just god awful with the bat. But that's whatever. Um, they are razor thin on depth. They probably do have a backup catcher. Like they lost Winterhalter because Winterhalter wants $9 million a year to go hit 161 or whatever he hit. They probably do have somebody they could bring up in Matty Mock, though he's not particularly good. He's probably enough, or maybe like a Nick McCoy or something like that. But like, if you're Tampa, the question here is, have they peaked? And if so, like if it was a competitive ALCS, this isn't a question. But that was not a competitive series in the slightest. And yeah, you can say, well, Dane Greer was injured, Corbin Carroll was injured. That wasn't a competitive series. And the Bills coming due for a bunch of these players soon. And Tampa's owner does not want to give out money.
It does not want to spend.
Their budget is higher. Like it gets pointed out, like their budget is higher than it has been. It is not keeping up with the level of it needs to be at to stay competitive. And so if you're Tampa, do you break it up this offseason? You got $3 million to spend to try and improve the team. They do have a couple pieces they could trade. Elliot Jenkins being one of them, where they could move Jenkins and still be competitive. Like you put Carroll in left field, that just makes you even thinner. I mean, obviously, if you move Jenkins, you're probably getting prospects in return to try and reload somewhere. But this is a situation where the baseball gods might not have been too kind to the Rays on the advancement of series. That makes sense.
Yeah. If I'm running Tampa, I don't rebuild yet. I look at the books and, there's a little bit of a relief next year. You're at 155 million now. It drops to 141 that you've already got committed to next year. So that means you can keep one of Jenkins, Sullivan, Stone, Oswalt. Can't keep them all, but you can figure out who you want.
If you're already thin, and you've got 4 big free agents after next season: Tyson Oswalt, Elliot Jenkins, Jeremy Sullivan, Jeffrey Stone.
The reason I say you don't break it up yet is, once again, when you look at where you are in this, my feeling is, and maybe it's because I spend too much time in the NHL where weird things happen. If you can get to the playoffs, and I know that Tampa had a unceremonious exit, but if you can get to the playoffs, anything can happen. And I think that this is a team, with how it's currently constructed, that can get to the playoffs. And I think it's partially because it's built like I would build a team. Like if you go to the organizational meet the team, it's going to tell you that their weak spot is center field, right? But if you look at Randy Mailey's ratings, he's a perfect center fielder. He's got 70 range. He doesn't make errors. He can throw the ball. He's got great speed. Like, I don't consider him a weak spot at all. Position by position, you got Witt, you've got Romo, you've got really good players everywhere. You've got a good top in your rotation. Your bottom of your rotation is not that bad either.
Well, I guess that's one issue, is
and you
losing
don't have
Joe Musgrove, who was very good for Tampa last year.
Well, and you still don't have Seattle and the Angels in your division. I think.
Yeah, I mean, that is a thing.
I think you're coming into next season probably as the favorite in the AL East if you don't break up anything.
I mean, it's them in Boston. It's the Rays in Boston. But at the same time, you say, well, the Angels.
But also, and then Toronto's got
Astros
$100 million to spend and could instantly be in that mix too. But
they're not going to be. They're not going to be. You can't. You're not flashing cash at
So I
that
guess
roster and building a winner.
how our philosophies kind of differ a little bit is that my thinking is if you've got a window and you can get to the playoffs, you do it no matter what. And you're kind of thinking more is like, what about next year? Like, I don't want to go back to the playoffs, exit early, and then lose all these players and not have anything in return for them.
Yeah,
Which,
who wants to be the '90s Utah Jazz, the mid
yeah,
'90s
but
Utah
like,
Jazz? Who wants to be them?
you could win it all. I mean, nobody wants to be them. Nobody wants to
Well,
be the early '90s Buffalo Bills either. But like, I think if you, I don't think you rebuild when you're the favorite in your division.
I can see it. What is this? This is weird. Where the issue comes, you say, well, you don't have uh LA, Seattle, or Houston in your division. They played each other. Houston played Seattle in the wild card, then the Angels played Houston. They took each other out. And then the Angels just walked. But granted, they only lost one game the entire postseason. But they they basically told the Rays, hey, give me your hand. It's not going to be so bad. And just threw them off a cliff.
Yeah. Well, and now they're going to be getting Ohtani on a discount because nobody else can afford him.
Yeah, 1 year, 5 million, 4.5 million. But like again, if you're the Rays and you only have 3 million to spend right now, and you would prefer to have a better backup catcher. You had guys who suffered injuries last year, like Brandon Gill, like Corbin Carroll, like Bobby Witt was out for a little bit, and Jenkins had some injuries. The pitching staff has injuries. Like Greer is going to be out for another 4 months. He should be back for the beginning of the season. But what's he going to look like? If your cap is always have to run into the Angels or the Mariners or like the Astros or upcoming the White Sox perhaps, or like a Royals or a team that gets hot, and you have to thread a needle every year where you don't have ways to improve your franchise overall, and you don't have ways to resign guys. Like again, you said you're not going to be able to keep everybody, with Oswalt, Jenkins, Jeffrey Stone, who was a all league reliever last year, or Jeffrey Sullivan. You're going to take a step back.
That's where I say, why can't you be
Eventually,
that team that gets hot down the
because
stretch?
you're not in control of it. That's the thing. You're not in control of it. And so my question, and then we're going to move on. What if Bobby Witt were on the trade block?
Well,
Think of all the
there
teams that
would
need
be a lot of
shortstops right
suitors
now.
for that. Yes, there would be a lot of suitors, but now you're costing yourself a chance at the playoffs.
But what if you could be better? Like, what if you could get the talent that turns you into an elite team rather than a very good team? Again, mid '90s Utah Jazz, always out in the conference semifinals. It was like clockwork. Would you rather take a step back to have a better shot at being elite and win a title, or make the playoffs at least this year, which again, they're probably a favorite to do that, but then have hard decisions next year and probably take a decided step back and face an Orioles team that's on their way up, and face the Blue Jays a year into a rebuild when you could potentially get in front of it now.
I think
And
both methods can be justified, but my gut is take a shot while you can.
Yeah, I mean that's just what's going to face Tampa this offseason, especially if they're not able to improve where they need to improve to have a puncher's chance in the playoffs. I think that's really the question, and realistically, the owner needs to actually sell the team.
Yeah, well, that's what you really need, right? Is just somebody who'll grow your budget every year so you can keep your players and sprinkle new ones in.
The owner sold the team.
Hmm.
Yeah. In an alternate reality, the owner did sell the team. The owner did sell the team, but this owner's not selling the team. Anyway, I think we've taught. I think we hit all the questions
So
that we had. And so from there, I guess we should do our predictions. Our terrible. Well, okay,
I don't even
yours might be great. I don't know, but
no, mine are
terrible.
pretty bad. I've already admitted that one was bad with Pardo. I've already typed the word no next to that, but
I did see that.
we can go through real quickly on these just to wrap up.
Let's just go over the and then I have one or two more questions and we'll get out.
Yeah.
We'll go through the list. We'll rehash Ohtani. What do you have, Ohtani?
I have him Toronto, 7 years, $350 million.
All right, I got the Dodgers 7 and 375. He probably, again, 1 year, $3 million with the Angels. That's probably where he ends up. Miguel Leon.
I have going to Texas for 7 years, 210.
Which I could see. I've got the White Sox 5 and 140. He's probably a mid-February signing on that. Machado,
I have going to Seattle, 4 years, 120 million.
you got him going back there.
Yeah, I had him returning to Seattle.
They don't have the money to do that currently. They got 23. They got 24 million.
They have 24 million, and I have him at 4-1. What's 4-120? That's
what's 30 million a year.
Yeah. Okay.
They seem to have identified corner outfielder as their top priority. I'm wondering if Austin Alderton is going to be the guy. He's currently penciled in as the guy. But yeah, that's always subject to change. But as of now,
change that to
the third baseman. Okay, you're gonna bring it down to
there.
You think he's gonna sign, like
no, that's not a good guess.
I can't see him going for just 20. Like, again, I feel like that's going to be a team.
There's too many people need third baseman for that to happen.
Yeah, like I feel like if he's going for 4 years, it's probably gonna be 35 million.
Yeah,
a year.
Probably. So I'm gonna have an unrealistic pick there.
Yeah, this is where I had said Toronto. I don't feel good about it. 5 and 150. I feel like too many contending teams will come for him. To be perfectly honest, that could be potentially. I don't think they would do this because, again, this isn't really something where they flash cash on this, but they don't have a really immediate person there. I mean, I guess Anthony Kerr, but I think you're right, playing at second base. Like the Angels' only need is, according to the team rankings, positional rankings, is second base. If you move Kerr to second base, well, Manny Machado would fit. You have infinite money with them. They have 121 million in extensions next year, and again, they don't have that many people to sign. They do have like Paul Erickson and stuff like that, but Machado makes more sense than Ohtani there.
Yeah,
in my
definitely.
opinion. So I could see Machado going there. I could see him possibly with I don't know, not the White Sox, but like Texas Rangers. Like that's another one where I could see it, like them going after him to give them a little more legitimacy. I could also see no, I don't. I guess I couldn't see San Francisco. No, because they have Taylor Sparks. Oh, he's their first baseman. Who's their third baseman? Oh, that's right. Manny Machado, for people who have Manny Machado at home. Nolan Arenado. That's right. Like that's where you can we have Manny Machado? No, we already have him at home, and there's Nolan Arenado sitting there. Yeah. All right, Jen McKinley.
McKinley, I had down. Whoops, let me reopen this page real quick. I had McKinley going down to the Dodgers for 3 years at 25 million a year.
I have Cincinnati 4 at 90, so about 18 million a year. Here's a question.
So
He's there. How did I did not know. I did know this. I just forgot. That Pittsburgh traded for Jerry McDonald from the Dodgers. I was like, where did McDonald go? And you're like, oh, he's in Pittsburgh. And that's probably why I forgot, because he's in Pittsburgh. And that's where you go to forget that people exist, is Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh has a really good team, but also I couldn't tell you half the players on it. And I'm looking at the roster right now. Like Jamie Vega. Jamie Vega sounds like a 1990s WCW wrestler.
he does.
Yeah. It's like Disco Inferno's tag team partners, Jamie Vega. Anyway, Javier Garcia.
I put Garcia going to Washington for 5 years, $100 million.
I could see that. I had St. Louis 4 at 96. They do have a need there. They do have a path to win the division again if things were to fall, right? But like, they do need a third baseman. He would be an excellent fit there, in my opinion. We really didn't talk about the pitchers, and that's because this is a pretty odd and forgettable pitcher. Like, Scott Travail is the top pitcher on the market, and he had a 100 OPS plus, and he wants 5 years and 90 million.
Yeah.
Where do you think he's going to end up?
Well, I put him down at 5 years, 90 million with Toronto, just because they have the money and they could use another starter.
Yes, they could. They could. I have Minnesota 4 and 72. They need, and Minnesota's such a wild card because they're, they have so much money, but they're also like, we might blow it up, but we might not, but we might blow it up. Like, it's so funny to whenever that does pop up. Whenever it's really funny to watch. They sound like Tampa, but I think they actually might entertain blowing up some stuff. But if not, Travail's probably a guy there. Jared Cozart, who is somehow the number 2 starting pitcher on the market. He did have a 120 OPS or ERA plus. He wants 4 years, 97 million.
He's pitched really well in San Francisco, but you got to remember that that's a pitcher's ballpark. I have him going down south to the whale's vagina of San Diego. That's a Anchorman reference. For just 3 years because of his age. 75 million though.
Yeah. Where do I have him? That's one. I know Washington needs pitching. Yeah. I probably wouldn't go. I would probably go to the person to talk about here in just a second. But I have Washington 3 for 60. It's manageable. I probably question it given what Washington's put on the trade block recently, but I know they need pitching. And Cozart, I mean, Grant, in San Francisco, like, his ball was very much aided by the wind.
Yeah.
That's how he got speed. Was, he doesn't throw hard. He throw it, like, it says 93 and 95. That's he's 35. He'll be 36 in May. He is a ground ball pitcher. He's fine. He's fine. He also had a league leading 267 BABIP. Again, like, he was very much a beneficiary of that defense. Probably the biggest beneficiary of any defense of any pitcher last year. That
defense and the ballpark, and yeah, I don't see him putting those same numbers up other places.
Yeah. I actually didn't have him here. This is gonna be a bonus one, but Parker Markell, I had him listed on the other bigger list. He wants, okay, so he had the year of years last year. He was not good the past couple of years, and then he turns around. Grant 9 and 9, but a 3.72 ERA, 1.13 ERA plus, was his best since he was with the Dodgers back in 2020. He had a 1.64 ERA plus. Holy crap, that was. But he had nearly a 3-WAR season, which is his best since 2022. He wants 1 year and about 11 million. He'll be 35 pretty much all of next season. That sounds like found money, doesn't it? Who do you think takes Markell or I guess this is a better question. Do you think he ends up in a bidding war? Like, do you think he ends at 1 for 11, or do you think some team's going to pay him 2 to 3 years, like 2 years, like a 2+1, for like 15 million a year?
I feel like in this league, people generally don't throw that much money at control pitchers. They like tend to throw more money at the strikeout pitchers. And he was, 6.6 Ks per 9 inning last year. Honestly, I don't think there'll be a bidding war. He's a guy I could see that goes back. I could see him re-signing with the Phillies.
I think it's I think that's possible. I also think if he wanted 1 year and 11 million to re-up with the Phillies, they would have already done it.
But I never know who are the people that give you that I want to test the market thing.
Yeah, and he could be. I mean, granted, he was there like 5 years, so like I wonder.
Yeah.
But also, I mean, who do they have some guys coming up again? They have some good prospects coming up, and also they had Bubba Chandler, who wasn't relief, but he's gonna move to the rotation in 2026, I guess. So like again, they have holes. Markel was a bright spot for them. The one thing I would be curious about is if Boston and the White Sox get involved with him, or Minnesota, again, the Phillies, or Washington or Toronto get involved, or even Texas. Just somebody throw on like the back end of your rotation.
Yeah.
I could see him getting 2 years and 28. I just see it, just because all it takes is one team to say, well, I'll give you a second year, just a 1+1, and all of a sudden now it's a 2-year deal.
Yeah. It's possible.
And I mean, and there's a couple guys like that. Like that there's him. Granted, the other guy, but Jamie Widner, who had a decent year last year, and I had never heard of Jamie Widner before this morning. He wants 1 and 9. Showed him Imanaga wants 1 and 1.7 million. Like, granted, he's terrible and old now, but I didn't realize he was 32. I had no idea. But he wants 1.7. Like, there are some potential bargains with starting pitchers, but only if you're looking to get a decent 4th starter or 5th starter. But I could see a couple of those guys getting bid up, like Markel. Then there's like Joe Musgrove, who wants 4 years, 42 million, which is, I mean, you do well in a contract year, whatever. Robert Paulus had a really good year last year, 189 ERA plus, 1.3 WAR. He wants 4 years, $46 million.
I don't see anyone giving him more than 2 or 3 years, given his age. I predicted him go to the Dodgers, 2 years, 12.5 per year.
If you have a decided lockdown starter, and the Reds have Victor, but if you have one, you're better off with 2. Just having, just turning guys into stoppers. It might be a bit ridiculous. I did have the Red, I feel like this would be one of the moves that the Reds would potentially make in order to solidify themselves as the best team in the NL, because they do have a lot of young starting pitchers who, especially guys like Ryan Lentz, who got hurt. Paul Skeens, of course, he got hurt, and what's he going to look like? Having another lockdown piece at the back of the bullpen to make a lot of sense for a few teams, like the White Sox. Even if they have a guy who's really good, that Marmero, he's excellent. The Twins could use a guy I feel like Paulus could end up being a major winner of free agency. If teams just, decide, well, we're going to wait on the bigger bats, and we're going to try and get some of these relievers and stuff, like who are difference makers, we may try and get them in the first half. Like I can see Paulus getting bid up pretty quickly. I haven't Cincinnati 3-36. I feel like that's going to be conservative, to say the least.
Yeah, I definitely see him getting more than his 11.5 he's looking for per year, but I can't picture anyone giving him 4 years. He'll be 37 next August. Like, you have a 3-year deal. I have a 2-year deal. I think it'll be 2 or 3. I think that, but I could see him getting bid up over 12 million a year.
Yeah. That was the only reliever we're talking about, because Brett Marshall, like, no, that's okay. He had a good year. He'll be 36. He wants 3 years, 22.5 million, and that's okay. Let's go to Aaron White. Aaron White,
I had going to the Angels with their fun money that they have nothing else to do with. For what did I put down? 5 years, $100 million. Yeah, I don't know why I said that. Probably just
because
thinking of
a ton of money and
who had
goals.
money, and kind of. So, and I was looking at, if there was a need there, it would be second base, and he's a nice little second baseman.
Yeah. I mean, I'm curious. I actually do need to see when the last time the Angels spent any sort of money on a free agent. Like, Grant, I mean, Garcia didn't make anything last year, did he?
Mm-mm.
He was cheap as all hell, because he was a late free agent signing.
Well, yeah, and I think if they signed Aaron White, more realistically, they would do it late in the game and not pay that much or that long.
Yeah, I mean, Corey Koski, but Grant, no, he's much younger than I thought. I'm wondering, I'm thinking of somebody else. It's gonna bother me as to who I'm thinking about. But regardless, like, I don't see it, because they have so much, like, they have Angels players,
Right.
Like granted, Austin Tate, he's really good at what he does. He fits a decided need there, but he's a part-timer. Anthony Kerr may end up being their second baseman again. Like, I think Machado could very much be in play for this team if they're going to go after somebody. They also have Jackson Holliday kind of waiting in the wings to move over to shortstop, which means Adam Smith could become your third baseman, or could become a second baseman. So I didn't have White going there. I feel like he's somebody who will take the most money, and I feel like, and also get the most playing time. I feel like that's the Blue Jays. Like, they need somebody. They need, so that's why I have Machado going there. I have 5 years, 110 for them. And then the last one, I think this was what was Brilio Pardo.
Yeah.
You like what? Okay, so where would you have
I
him?
would have to put him someone that just needs a DH, because I'm not putting that guy in my field anywhere.
Yeah.
So whoever needs a DH, that's where he's going. At 40 years old almost, slow as molasses. Ooh, I wouldn't even want him playing first base for me, honestly. It reminds me of when I had Joey Votto in Kansas City. I just didn't use him anywhere but DH. If they could use a DH, yeah. He's not getting 21 million.
No. Part of me kind of is looking at, like, the Cubs, just to have a professional hitter who can maybe mentor some guys. Like, they have Dylan Cruz as their DH, and I don't understand that. Not a great arm, but I don't understand that. Regardless, I had Texas 2 for 30. That would be ideal. He caught 9 innings last year. Was it 9? I think it was 9 innings. Maybe not. No, 9 games. 9 games. They don't. Granted, the Rangers need a catcher. He's not going to catch, but they have Arturo Moreno as their current DH. The dude is too good defensively to be a DH. If you need a professional hitter who can hit, towards the back half of that lineup, like Pardo's your guy, and they have the money. Yeah, they need a catcher. McKinley makes a lot of sense for them. But
Yeah.
Pardo, again, they do have Carter Jensen, but like Pardo could be the guy who catches 9 games a year, because again, Texas not probably going to compete this year. I really like them for 2027. I don't like them for 2026. But like, why not go get a good hitter? Like, I feel like Pardo would still hit the snot out of the ball.
Yeah,
in that ballpark.
Yeah.
So
just keep him out of the field though.
Yeah. And have a runner ready for him at like all times. Well, I think that's it. Do you have anything else you want to discuss before we get out of here?
No, I think that's good.
Okay. Well, we gave people something to listen to maybe while they travel, and then they could swear at us for like, you're so stupid. I'm not going to sign Cam Gallagher for 2 years and $25 million.
Yeah. Well,
I mean,
after we can see some clues at who's been bidding on who, it might be easier to make some predictions. But so it looks like the only offer I've seen out there is that the Cubs have. I don't even know if I'm gonna spill all the beans, but everyone can look in the game and see. But I haven't noticed any other of those top free agents showing any interest anywhere yet. So, or showing that anyone is interested in them.
Yeah, this has the feeling of like a middle school dance.
Get your back up off the wall.
Like, yeah, it's just going to be free agents on one half, teams on the other half, just looking at each other and pointing, and nothing's happening. And that's just going to be what it is. That's actually how I won over my wife.
Yeah, that's a good good analogy.
No, that's I'm dead serious. It's actually how I won her over. Like we had found each other on Match and did that thing where you like each other or something.
Yeah.
And I had sent her a message, because that's what you do. You don't just gawk at pictures. And she read it but didn't respond for a couple of days. And I just was like kind of fed up with dating and everything. And I was like, hey, like, what is this middle school dance situation? Like, are we just gonna like each other's pictures and send a thumbs up every other day or something? And she thought that was really funny. And now here we are. And it's a very applicable analogy for this, because I feel like that's what it's going to be until it starts falling.
After Christmas, we'll see some stuff happening.
You think you don't think it'll be anytime in December?
I mean, there'll be probably some signings, but nothing big, I don't think.
Okay. One last question, then we're done. Who do you think is gonna be the first to sign? Do you think it's be player X with Chicago? I mean, again, this is total just throw a damn dart because nobody knows anything. But like, I'm curious if a team's going to decide to just go be aggressive and just go for somebody.
I think the first person to sign is going to be Chad Lewis. And I only say that because I know he has an offer.
That's fair. I'll just agree with you, because I couldn't tell you who. And like, Arturo Velasquez.
It'll probably be some middle reliever signing for $8 million that signs first, honestly. But I don't know.
Jean-Luc Raymond. Don't call me Picard. He'll be the first one. He wants 1 year, $4.8 million. Sounds reasonable.
I've had those weird times where somebody wants like nothing, and I make him an offer for like a little bit more than that, and he still sits for 2 months before he decides. I never understood that. A real life agent, you come at with more than what the person's asking for, and they sign the next day. They don't like sit around. Yeah. Hey, this guy's offering you more than you're wanting. Should we sign it? Nah, let's just wait. Like, who does that?
Yeah, I want a minor league contract. Offer a minor league contract. What are you, an idiot? I said I want a major league contract. No, you said minor league. 2 days later, want a minor league contract. Like, okay. Yeah, that'll be the fun dance. Anyway, I think we should wrap it up there. I hope you have a wonderful holiday.
Thanks.
And all that comes with it. And you
Me
eat
too.
as much as you want.
I will eat a lot.
There you go. All the leftovers.
Yeah.
All right. Well, for Chappy, this is Comey. Thanks for listening to whatever the hell this was, and hope
Maybe
you have a
that's the name of
wonderful.
the podcast.
It's
Whatever the
very
hell
cool.
this was.
I like the Today DHD pod still resonates with me, but that
works
we'll
with
see.
me. I
We'll
don't know
see.
if I'm officially there, but
We'll come up
definitely
with something, and
scatterbrained.
we'll come up with something. Anyway, thanks for listening, everybody. Have a wonderful whenever it is, wherever you are.